A seemingly indestructible robot is sent from the year 2029 to 1984 to assassinate a young waitress whose young-born son will lead humanity into a war against sentient machines, while a human soldier from the same war is sent to protect her at all costs. Hey guys, and welcome to my new movie review for the 1984 movie The Terminator. This movie is rated R, and the duration of this movie is 1 hour and 47 minutes. This movie is an action sci-fi. This movie is directed by the incredible, brilliant James Cameron, and the cast is Arnold Schwarzenegger, who is the Terminator, Linda Hamill, who plays Sarah Connor, and Michael Biehn, who plays Kyle Reese. First off, I want to just say about this movie that blows my mind beyond comparison in every level that I could just... It just really blew my mind, guys. It's the simple fact that this movie is as old as it is, and it was all practical effects. That is, rewatching it, that is one of the biggest things that made me, for real, just mesmerized. And it's funny, I don't know why, I really don't know why, but as I rewatched this movie this afternoon, I actually thought to myself, I was thinking to myself, I think this is the movie that I didn't like. And then I rewatched it and I was like, man, this movie stands the test of time when it comes to it was just brilliantly executed. Seriously. This movie is in every way, shape or form incredible. If you have never seen The Terminator, you're missing out. You really are missing out. Like, seriously. If you are a type of person, one, who likes Arnold Schwarzenegger, and who doesn't like Arnold Schwarzenegger, but two, is it just an action buff. You get thrills from action. The Terminator, seriously, it's just one of those movies that is just, it sets the benchmark for the wow factor. It really, really does. Just rewatching this movie this afternoon, I just kept thinking to myself, this movie is so old. Like, it really is actually quite old. And the more that I was watching it, the more I thought, and okay, I have to say that seeing Arnold Schwarzenegger, as the robot version of him, that's probably the part where you look at it now and go, oh man, that's slightly cringeworthy. But when it was made back in those days, you couldn't believe what you were looking at. Like, that's a robot? Are you kidding me? Like, the animation and puppetry, or whatever it was, whatever you call it at the time, that's legit. Like, that is what it is. That's how movies were made, guys. It's just phenomenal to see where we have come in cinema, or where we've come from in cinema to what we are today. It's where CGI effects are so incredibly, even seemingly simple things that we take for granted in cinema today. And you look back at The Terminator and go, wow, that was all practical effects. That was all... They did it. They were there. It was all hands-on. It was all legit, completely real. It was all... They made it. Whatever it was that needed to be made, they did it. They did it there. They did it then. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Guys, if you have not had a chance to see The Terminator, I really, really, seriously... I just cannot express enough how much you need to watch this movie. You really do. Now, one thing I want to talk about I want to go in depth with here in a second. Right now, I want to talk about the biggest thing I appreciated and I really valued with this movie, more than the practical effects of this movie, which were just stellar. But one of the biggest things I want to talk about is the fact they really they took you on in the dialogue. They took you on the journey. They really explained in detail what they wanted you to understand is exactly what this franchise wanted to really birth from. They really wanted the audience to understand that they knew what they were talking about. And I want to tell you about this that blew my mind. There is a scene in this movie, and guys, you know me, I don't do spoilers, right? I don't do spoilers, but there is a scene in this movie. I mean, if you haven't seen the Terminator, what are you doing, for one? But there's a scene in the Terminator where Arnold Schwarzenegger, no it's not, it's Kyle Reese's character is walking past, it's like, it's future, it's, you know, it's just, it's a bad scene. It's a bad scene, right? It's a really bad scene. And these two little girls are sitting down in front of a monitor. Now, I'm not going to give it away, but they're watching something and the camera pans behind the girls and you see it's revealed what they're watching. And I'm not kidding you. This movie was made back then. And I thought to myself, once what was revealed, and you're thinking, what are they? I'm interested to know what that is. What are they watching right now? And then what you see them watching, I promise you, you will literally be like, man, James Cameron must have been able to see into the future, because that is so well thought out. It is so well thought out. Now, I remember thinking to myself years ago, they kind of rushed into the plot point of how the child is born, or how the child was going to be born, or whatever. But then re-watching it this afternoon, they did not rush it in any sense of the word. It was really, really well thought out. I mean, incredibly well thought out. This is one of those movies that stands the test of time when it comes to the wow factor of Hollywood. It really genuinely is. This is such an incredibly powerful movie in action sci-fi that going back and rewatching it and seeing where the franchise has come from is today. Now, the biggest reason why, and I need to talk about this, the biggest reason why I wanted to do this movie review, guys, is one, as if you haven't seen my special announcement, go and check that out. But I'll tell you now, my nephew is coming to watch T2, Terminator 2 Judgment Day with me tomorrow night. I'm so excited for that. He's gonna do the Terminator 2 Judgment Day movie review with me. But then next Friday, he's actually coming back over and we're going to do Terminator Dark Fate. Now, I just need to tell you, just in case you don't know, because you might not know this. James Cameron has come back. Now, he's not directing Terminator Dark Fate. That's actually being directed by the director of Deadpool 1 and 2, Tim Miller. But he's producing this. He's producing Terminator Dark Fate. Now, if you didn't know this, you're about to know. Dark Fate literally is directly after, and I did this on my announcement, is the direct sequel to Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Dark Fate is the next movie. Tim Miller and James Cameron have scrapped all the other movies that have come after Terminator 2 Judgment Day. The reason why is because all the other movies that came after Terminator 2 Judgment Day, James Cameron had nothing to do with. That was not his. He didn't direct it, he didn't produce it, he had nothing to do with those movies. Or if he did, he didn't direct them. and no, he's not directing Dark Fate, but he's heavily involved in the production of it. He's producing it. So this is the direct storyline after Terminator 2, as it's known as T2, Judgment Day. Guys, I'm so looking forward to doing that review. We're actually gonna drop it on Saturday. It's not gonna drop on Friday because we're watching a really late session of it, and I don't want to come home and be totally zonked out of my brain in doing a review. I'd rather be fresh and ready to go, and just fully just in a good headspace and not tired and stuff like that. Just for you guys, you're welcome. Yeah, that's right, guys. For anyone who's been following me, you know that I really have a passion, and I really do. I love movie trivia because I just find it so fascinating. I find it really fascinating just what happens behind the scenes that you don't even know about. So guess what time it is, guys? Trivia time. Arnold Schwarzenegger worked with guns every day to prepare for the role. The first 2 weeks of filming, he actually practiced weapon stripping so that they were taken apart and put together, literally like the machine. And he went to the shooting range, and he literally could shoot the machines without blinking or looking at them. He actually had to be ambidextrous. He practiced different moves up to 50 times. He ended up garnering compliments of Fortune magazine for realistic gun handling. That's amazing, guys. Like, seriously. Far out. So the actual beginning of production was postponed for 9 months for him filming Conan the Destroyer in 1984. During this time, James Cameron actually wanted to be working, but he didn't have the time to do a whole other film. He had a talk with some other producers at 20th Century Fox, and they liked his screenplay for Terminator, and they gave him a writing assignment. This came after Aliens, 1986. On the same day, he was also asked to write a script for Rambo, First Blood, Part 2, 1985. While handling these two assignments, he also did additional assignments on the screenplay for Terminator in order to keep the projects apart. He calculated how many pages he had to do, and then he divided them, for the waking hours that he did. He said, I accomplished it by drinking lots of coffee. That's so crazy. One afternoon, during a break of filming, Arnold Schwarzenegger went into a restaurant down in LA, and he was in his costume, totally in makeup. Crazy. It just like burnt flesh and everything, and he completely forgot about it. Guys, thank you so much for watching this movie review. Have you had the opportunity to see Terminator? If so, what did you think about it? And thank you to all my subscribers. And if you haven't yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for that. Everyone who has subscribed to my YouTube channel, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much. And if you haven't, don't forget to click the bell for notifications, because that way when I drop something, it's yours automatically straight away. It's so good. Thank you so much for that. Leave a thumbs up on this movie review, guys, because then I know that you guys are appreciating my content, and I really value that. Thank you so much for that. And until my next review, which is going to be hopefully Terminator 2, or it's going to be Ready or Not, depending on which comes first. You'll have to click the bell for notifications to see that one. Anyway, guys, I really appreciate your time. Thanks for being here. And until my next review, this is Superman Steve. Fly!